Talk to them, Flock. Talk to them, my dog.
K-Flock spoke on Instagram Live after his trial ended. He was found not guilty of the most serious charge, which was the passing of Oscar Hernandez. However, he was found guilty of 5 other charges, including possession and RICO. His lawyer said that these charges do not worry him. The biggest concern was always the charge related to Hernandez, and since he was not found guilty of that, it could help with his release date. There was also an important detail in the case. Prosecutors sent a letter saying that the jury had to decide if K-Flock truly believed he was in danger. The judge wanted the jury to think about whether he acted like a reasonable person, but the letter showed that they also thought about his life, his background, and the things he had been through. Because of where he grew up and what he had seen, he really believed that Oscar was about to hurt him. This could have helped the jury understand why he acted the way he did. K-Flock recently went on Instagram Live to talk about the most serious charge he is facing in his case. Many people have been discussing his trial, and he felt it was time to clear things up and share his thoughts directly with everyone. He said this was his first official statement since everything started, and he wanted to make sure his supporters heard it from him. At the beginning of his message, Flock took a moment to thank everyone who has been standing by him during this difficult time. He said he truly appreciates all the love, support, and prayers people have sent his way. According to him, knowing that people still believe in him and are hoping for the best gives him strength to keep going. He also thanked those who have been following his case closely and showing concern for what happens next. Flock then spoke about his experience in the courtroom. He said that throughout the trial, he felt like he was treated fairly, and he especially wanted to thank the judge. He mentioned that even though the situation was serious, the judge always showed him respect. This meant a lot to him because being in court and fighting such heavy charges can feel overwhelming. Having a judge who treated him with fairness made a difference in how he was able to handle everything. One person Flock was especially grateful for was his lawyer, Michael Ashley. He made sure to give him a special shout-out, saying that Ashley has been by his side from the beginning and never gave up on him. Flock knows that not everyone has a lawyer who truly fights for them, but he feels lucky to have someone like Ashley working on his case. He talked about how his lawyer has been putting in a lot of effort, doing everything he can to prove Flock's side of the story. No matter how tough things have gotten, Ashley has stayed focused and determined, which gives Flock hope for a good outcome. Even though Flock is thankful for all the support, he also made it clear that the battle is not over yet. He reminded everyone that the case is still ongoing and there is more work to be done. He kept a strong and hopeful attitude, saying, "It is not over until Allah says it is over." This shows that his faith is keeping him strong through everything. He believes that no matter what happens, everything is in God's hands, and he will accept whatever comes his way. Before ending his message, Flock wanted to send love to his fans. He knows that many people are watching his case and hoping he makes it through. He assured them that no matter what happens, he is staying strong and keeping his head up. He said he does not let negativity affect him too much. Instead, he takes everything to the chin and nothing to the heart. This means he does not let things break him down emotionally, even when they are difficult. He knows that life comes with challenges, but he refuses to let them destroy his spirit. Flock also shared a few words of encouragement for everyone watching. He said that no matter what struggles people are facing in their own lives, they should keep pushing forward and not let anything bring them down. He hopes that his fans and supporters are staying positive, keeping peace in their hearts, and believing in better days ahead. At the end of his live session, Flock left everyone with a message of strength and faith. He made it clear that he is not giving up, and he does not want anyone else to give up either. No matter how hard things get, he believes there is always hope, and he will continue to fight for his freedom. His words showed that he is not only thinking about himself, but also about the people who look up to him. With his trial still ongoing, there are many questions about what will happen next. However, one thing is clear: K-Flock is not letting fear or doubt take over. He is standing firm, trusting in his faith, and preparing for whatever comes his way. The 5 charges he was found guilty of came from one of his own gang members telling on him. Reports say that in 2020, K. Flock used a firearm against someone who had just used one against his friend. That same friend later testified against him. The person who told on him is named Brockington, also known as Dougie. However, this is not the same as Flock's best friend, Dougie B. This Dougie was arrested for selling, and instead of doing his time, he took a plea deal and put all the blame on Flock. Even with all of this happening, Flock stayed in a good mood. He was still positive while talking to rapper Top 5 on a jail phone, showing that he is staying strong through it all. Lil TJ showed support for K. Flock by posting, "Free Flock." But with Dougie telling on Flock, it has made his release date much harder. A transcript from the courtroom shows what happened when prosecutors questioned Dougie. They asked him, "After you got hit, who called you in the hospital?" Dougie answered, "K. Flock called. He said, 'You know we got you, bro.'" Dougie also said that Flock told him he was going to get back at the person who hurt him. The prosecutors used this to confirm their case. They asked, "So Flock hit them up in retaliation for you?" Dougie said, "Yes," and even admitted that someone was grazed during the incident. He also said that Flock had a firearm and was on calls with rival crew members who circled their block. This connects to the passing of Oscar Hernandez, which Flock's friend, Beloved, has also spoken about.
Ground and is found. He's got a loaded that was in his pocket that his hand was on at the time. We consider that to.
He said this because the case files explain how everything happened. On December 23, 2021, K. Flock was charged in the passing of Oscar Hernandez. On that day, Flock was walking on the sidewalk with his sister. He was wearing a blue coat, a ski mask, and designer jeans. As he walked past a barbershop, his rival, Oscar Hernandez, saw him. Instead of letting Flock walk away, Oscar stopped him and asked, "What are you looking at?" Since they did not like each other, they started arguing. Flock kept walking because he did not want his sister to be part of any street problems. But Oscar did not stop. He kept following Flock. The camera even showed Oscar reaching into his jacket while walking behind him. Seeing this, Flock turned around and used his firearm on Oscar, hitting him many times. Oscar fell to the ground, and Flock quickly left the scene. People nearby called 911 and paramedics came to help Oscar. They took him to a hospital in New York, but sadly, he did not survive. Oscar passed away, and the only things left at the scene were his slides and the shell casings from the shooting. The NYPD quickly got security footage from a store on the same street where everything happened. The whole incident was caught on camera, but the police had no way of knowing who the suspect was. With no leads, the police asked the public for help. They posted a picture of the suspect, hoping someone would recognize him. Right away, K. Flock's fans told the police it was him. Earlier that same day, Flock had been on Instagram Live wearing the same blue jacket and ski mask. Once the authorities confirmed this, they sent out a warrant for his arrest. Flock knew he did not have much time, so he made a smart move. He hired one of the best lawyers in the business, and they went to the police station together. His lawyer released a statement, saying, "I went with Kevin as he turned himself into the detectives at the 30th Precinct. As soon as I found out he was wanted, I made arrangements with the NYPD. We have already started our investigation into these charges, and we will talk about bail once we have fully reviewed the case." Flock's lawyer looked at the case and the important statement from the district attorney. As soon as he saw the video, he built a self-defense argument. He pointed out that when Oscar fell to the ground, police found a loaded weapon in his pocket, and his hand was already on it when everything happened. "We believe this was self-defense," the lawyer said. The government claims that Flock pulled first, but at the same time, the person on the ground had his hand on an illegal loaded weapon. Without saying too much, self-defense is one of the key arguments. If someone with a long criminal record walks up to you with a loaded weapon, it is clear what he plans to do. Do you wait to see what happens, or do you protect yourself? Many people were talking about this case, including rapper Bobby, who spoke about Flock in an interview. "It is crazy. He is the next big artist from New York, and I love Flock. I really do," he said. "I just want the best for him." I hope he beats these charges because he has a bright future ahead of him. It would be a sad story if this was how it ended. But we are not going to think like that. We have to stay positive. After this case started, the authorities did not just focus on the incident itself. Instead, they began looking into every part of K. Flock's life. Since he was claiming self-defense, the NYPD decided to investigate his past even more closely. They wanted to find out if there was anything else that could be used against him. As they kept digging, they found a connection between Flock and a group called the Third Side Street Team. Once they made this link, they had a reason to bring more charges against him. At first, the case was only about one incident, but now it had turned into something much bigger. What started as a self-defense claim quickly became a federal case when the government charged him with racketeering. This type of charge is often called RICO, which stands for the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. It is a very serious charge, and it is often used against gangs, organized crime groups, or people the government believes are involved in ongoing criminal activities. As soon as the news broke that K. Flock had been charged under RICO laws, the hip-hop world reacted immediately. Many people were shocked and started talking about how bad the situation looked for him. Some fans and bloggers said things like, K. Flock just got hit with a RICO case. This might be the end for him. Even well-known hip-hop commentator DJ Academics spoke about it. He shared his thoughts by saying, the feds have officially announced RICO charges against K. Flock. If he does not manage to beat these charges or work with them, he could end up spending the rest of his life in prison. On top of that, he is still dealing with other state charges, which have already kept him locked up for a long time. The situation quickly became one of the most talked about topics in the music industry. People started debating whether K. Flock had any chance of winning this case, or if the charges would destroy his future. Some believed he was being targeted unfairly, while others felt the evidence against him was too strong. For K. Flock, this was a major turning point in his life. Facing state charges was already difficult, but now he had to fight against the federal government as well. Federal cases are much harder to beat because the conviction rate is very high. The government only brings RICO charges when they feel they have strong proof, so this was not just another minor legal problem. This was something that could decide the rest of his life.
Investigation aspect of this, Lamont Freeman was allowed to be a 13-year-old for 27 minutes before.
Despite all of this, his lawyer remained focused on defending him. His legal team was determined to prove that the self-defense claim was real and that the additional charges were unfair. They argued that the government was using his past against him instead of looking at what actually happened in the case. Fans continued to support Flock, but there was also a lot of concern about whether he would ever be able to make music again. Many rappers who have faced RICO charges in the past either spent decades in prison or never returned to the industry the same way. This case also reminded people that law enforcement has been paying close attention to rappers in recent years. It is not just about the music anymore. Police and federal agents are now using lyrics, social media, and past associations as evidence in court. Many rappers have been arrested or investigated, and some believe that hip-hop artists are being unfairly targeted. For now, K. Flock remains behind bars as he waits to see what will happen next. His case is still developing, and the outcome is uncertain. But one thing is clear, this is one of the biggest legal battles of his life, and how he handles it will determine everything about his future. Flock's lawyers responded by saying, "We are not surprised by these federal charges. We have been fighting Kevin's state case for over a year now." The video clearly shows that Kevin was trying to walk away from Oscar, but Oscar was reaching for something in his pocket. Kevin had no choice but to protect himself and his sister. The original charge was weak, but now they are using it as part of a bigger case, which is shocking. Surprisingly, the first day of Flock's trial went well for him. People who were inside the courtroom said the prosecutors were not prepared. They were stuttering, struggling to answer the judge's questions, and could not present strong evidence against Flock. This situation also shows how many rappers are being watched by the police. Even Lil Baby was recently mentioned in an investigation. Police brought up a case where a 13-year-old boy named Lamont Freeman lost his life because of gang violence. They said an Atlanta rapper made a dangerous decision by filming a music video in a rival gang's area. This led to deadly consequences, and the police promised to make sure everyone involved is held responsible. Even Young and Ace was mentioned by the Jacksonville sheriff, which made people wonder if the police are targeting rappers. The sheriff said, "Young and Ace has been known in Jacksonville for a long time. We are always keeping an eye on these groups. We have officers watching them at all times. I will not talk about the chief's investigation, but right now, we do not have a case on him. However, he cannot move around Jacksonville without us knowing, and that is for the safety of our community." On the first day of K Flock's trial, people noticed that he looked emotional, but he still seemed confident. He was allowed to send a message to his supporters, and he said, "You all know what is going on. Man, it is Flock. I will be home soon. Shout out to my fans and supporters. I love all of you." For the young people out there, make sure you do the right thing and live your life the right way. This situation shows how the feds always find a way to keep rappers locked up. Boozy spoke about YNW Melly's case and said, "When the feds want you, they will do whatever it takes to keep you. I knew they were after him badly when they waited for that new law to pass before taking him to trial. He sat in jail for 2 or 3 years. They could have taken him to trial earlier, but they waited for that law to change. As soon as it passed, they took him to trial a few months later. When they want you, they want you. And I just do not understand how he did not get bail after mistrial.